Oh, welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, so I bow to you for looking at that which is limiting in the realm of not enough in order to liberate yourself. In case you haven't had a chance to watch the first video classes, what we're creating and talking about here together is an alchemy of sorts. We're talking about the energy of your old, conditioned, pre-programmed story of being and feeling like not enough, transmuting that energy like compost to claim and create a sense of plenty and abundance from the inside. You're literally transforming a sense of limitation into liberation and creating the room in your being or your system so you're able to embody the truth of your wholeness. And then this happens by taking your old story of not enough through a creative healing process, which is how and where the actual alchemy happens, so that the new truthful version of you as a woman who lives and breathes from a full cup is awakened. And why do we do it this way? Because a creative healing process bypasses the mind and goes into the unconscious and uses image and color to literally cause the transformation. The second video had a good amount of research and stats on all that. If you want to geek out on all that, you can go back and grab the PDF from that. If you've been attempting to get past your deeper programming without much luck, then this may be an excellent path for you. It's a drag to work so hard and end up mostly back at square one. Okay, maybe we get a little step forward, but in the end, it's still like being stuck in quicksand, right? Remember how we talked about engaging in a creative process or in creativity gives the same benefits as meditation in the last video? Well, there's a few other things it does for just about everyone. It builds the muscles of listening to the inner wisdom and guidance that is in each one of us. And this guidance is what centers us in our best choices. It redirects our intentions and it literally creates new brain tracks to get out of the quicksand. It's a personal medicine of sorts, and it lives in you, and it's accessed by way of your own creativity. Remember, everyone is a creative being, whether we're using it or not. What I have learned is that those who use it have access to their wisdom, to their healing, the intelligence, peace, and abundance that is in our system after we awaken it. It helps us expand our vision and open our system in a very safe way. We don't always realize it, but we tend to go about our days with a narrower vision than is good for us. And the nature of the universe is expansion, so we're always kind of with the universe, but we're just too often narrowly focused, and that cuts off a lot of our abundance and good. So here are a couple secrets about this. When you intentionally choose to upgrade your operating system, like the ways we've been talking, you will notice that you embody the energy of abundance. Your presence changes. Focus increases. Did you know that focus determines the speed of transformation, which is why creativity moves, heals, and transforms energy faster? So we're going to do something here together. I'm going to have you take a piece of paper. It can be just a regular old printer paper, and draw a circle in the middle. And what you're going to do is you're going to put all of the chatter about not enough in the middle of your circle here. And I have three versions I want to show you, but this first one, it's just pen. It's just a regular old Bic pen and a piece of printer paper. So you need nothing fancy to engage in this process with me, okay? And so what all this is just the chatter of your not enoughness. You should have some good fodder for that from your play sheet from last class. And then on the outside, you're going to put the outcomes and the experiences and the upgrades that you would prefer to be living, and the new story rewrites, the new chapters, the new endings to the story, so that you're not going to live into the endings of the old programming, so to speak. So this is just the pen and printer paper version. And then one step beyond that, which is really not much more except for, hopefully you can see, same thing, pen and printer paper, but I've highlighted the outcomes and the desires on the outside. Now you can do this any number of ways. You can use words that represent sort of like this long version of your story, that you know, like this is just how you roll with that programming of not enough. And then also words that will plug you into this this chapter, this second half of your life, ending of your story, so to speak. And like, for example, I have wholeness and truth and love and yes and ease, because the tension of not enough is really stressful and anxiety producing. So I know now that ease is a version of truth that is mine to access at any point in time that I choose, which is really a good thing. Bounty. I also would probably write beauty on here, because I love I love to see beauty. I love it everywhere in my life. So that makes me feel like I'm connecting to the divine and into my source of creativity when I see beauty. And I just wrote a thing about it, that it's safe for me to speak, using my voice and truth. And so the last version is simply printer paper again, and just 2 Sharpies, 2 different colors, right? And so again, these are different versions of the chatter of not enough, and these are representing like a fire, like flames. I know this almost looks like a sun too, but the flames, in my intention of this, was designed to sort of transform, transmute by way of fire the old energy, giving me access to my chosen outcome, which is what I've written on the outside. So one of the things I've learned is that when I'm in my contracted mind, and when I'm operating from autopilot and that fear-based programming of not enough, I don't feel like I'm safe, right? So when I've expanded myself and I'm in my fuller, more connected, sourced self, then I actually am safe. I feel this. I feel the safety, the protection, and I feel like I'm provided for. I'm safe, protected, and provided for in my divinity. So when we're open to our fullness and our wholeness and our abundance and good that's flowing in, through, and around us, that's what I have here. Plenty and prosperity is literally moving in, through, and around us. And you'll be able to feel that when your system isn't so stuck with the old energy, right? Then you can start feeling how this is literally swirling, like the universe literally is a fabric of love, and that fabric includes you and me as part of that tapestry. So to be able to sort of touch into that is really very, very juicy. So again, while this isn't a canvas, it's a piece of paper, and it can do the same thing. And just for our kind of short little experience here together, it's good enough for government work, so to speak. So and the other thing I was going to have you know is that if you bring your chatter of not enough, and imagine, maybe you could even do this before you start putting it on your paper, but if you look at your paper from last week, and you just sort of hold it all in this ball, and then you imagine that the energy, you're just sort of kind of kneading it a little bit and just bringing it into a smaller and smaller sphere, so it doesn't feel like it's taking over your entire being, and you're bringing it into the smaller and smaller sphere, and then you can drop that on your paper and put the words in there that represent that. And on the outside, you can write the whole story. Again, you can write words like I did. I was kind of doing a shortcut version so I could cut to the chase and show you. But you want to write down words that represent the gist of the lie on the inside, the chatter of the not enough, and then you write the story elements of what you are choosing as the storyteller to create yourself into. And we open a doorway, a portal, where our creative life force, it helps us to engage in this healing and transformation, to broaden our view and our vision of ourselves so that we can see our truth more clearly. And here's a couple things I want you to be thinking about when you're engaging in this process. And you can decide to turn the video, put it on pause and do this, or do it afterwards. But the first thing is, I want you to remember to breathe deeply. Because this is how energy moves in our body, and it will also help you keep you in your body. You may not know this, but almost all adults 90% of the time are breathing shallow, and that cuts off so much, right? So it's literally cutting off an entire treasure chest of wisdom and intelligence that's in all of the cells of our body. So one of the ways you can do it, it's just a simple 3-step process, and I'll put a 1-page cheat sheet on this below this video for you to play with, but it's called the Quantum Chi breathing process, which I've been teaching for years. And the way you do it is, this first step is to be in your body. Quick way to do that is to squeeze and release, doing like a Kegel. And the squeeze and release is like you would stop the flow of urine, because when you do that, you literally can feel that, and you're dropping your awareness into that sensation, that part of your body. You can wiggle your toes. That puts you aware of a lower part of your body, and it sort of counterbalances everything happening from the neck up, which is what we tend to do by spinning in our mind all the time. So that's the first step, be in your body. Second step is to simply breathe naturally in through your nose and out through your mouth, like. And the reason it's like that is because that connects the two main central channels, which has access to all the channels in our body, which makes it easier for the body to let go of and sort of pull the roots, the weeds up, so to speak, of the energy that's no longer serving us, and move it out by way of our breath. The breath is so important in that way to actually help move energy. So, and then the third part is on your exhale, to be conscious and aware of relaxing. So you're just kind of releasing tension, you're softening your body. And it may seem initially like this is, chewing gum and patting your head and walking and patting your belly and drawing and breathing and doing, but just play with it one little part at a time, and let it be fun for you. Don't make it be like a big deal. Even if you miss a couple of the pieces, it doesn't matter. It's more than what you've been doing. Maybe not, I don't know. But the main thing is that you just want to have access to your breath, however that is in the beginning, and you want to keep bringing yourself back to that. And also the next thing is to attune yourself to your intention, which is that new story, right, that you chose from your last play sheet. And in case you didn't do it or whatever, it's usually it's the opposite of what isn't working. And you may choose it to be something as simple as, how can I be the highest version of my thriving, abundant self? I mean, that's pretty juicy, right? And did you notice that is, how can I be the most thriving, abundant, juicy version of myself, is a question. That's an inquiry. And you'll remember from the journal from the first video, you might want to go grab that if you haven't already. Your mind will allow for an inquiry, but it has a harder time with blanket statements. So if you say, I am my thriving, abundant self, your mind might do something like, oh yeah? Well, let me tell you why that's not true. And it'll list off all these reasons that, from drawing from those parts of yourself, the least favorable parts of ourselves, right? But the inquiry allows for things to be more open, and your mind will allow that a little bit better. And then you're going to write the elements of your new story on the outer part of the circle. And you're going to practice being present as you engage on your page. You'll definitely wander, no doubt about it. Don't make it a big deal. Just bring yourself back, feel yourself in your chair, wiggle your toes, connect with your breath. Notice where you're feeling sensations of the old energy in your body. Maybe you'll feel it in your gut. Maybe your heart will feel a little tight. That energy is somewhere, that old energy. And the idea is to liberate it. And we do that by acknowledging and even honoring it for pointing the way to an important truth for us. And then the last thing is, if you want to use colored pens and pencils, go for it. Anything colored. It helps the mind be less black and white when we use color, but it's no big deal if you don't have access to that, or you can add color later. It's all good. But I want you to know this act is no small thing. In fact, while it may seem too subtle to trust, it's actually pretty profound. And every single time that we bring ourselves to a process like this, it builds in momentum, and it adds up to real transformation. The kind where you can look back and say, whoa, that happened, and it was kind of fun. And I mean, I'm telling you, women have created new jobs, new projects, increased income, they've released weight, healed chronic health problems, they've got matched up with a perfect home, released resentment and pain and grief, enough to allow a new partner in. The list is really long. And I want to tell you a secret. This is actually the number one secret. If you're a spirit-centered woman and you know that shifting false beliefs and patterns can take some effort, some things are downright hard if we're honest. Some researchers actually say we carry stories, memories, and traumas from our ancestors that are passed on between generations through DNA. Yet at this time we are being called at this point in human history and consciousness to rise to an energy level that's higher than the challenge, higher than the old, which literally changes how DNA expresses. And the number one secret to actually moving energy, not just spinning around on a hamster's wheel, working hard but not getting anywhere, is creating inside of a sacred container. A container designed by women for women, a sacred community devoted to transforming and rising above the old, outdated patterns, stories, and false beliefs that are like anchors to our forward movement, right? They're holding us back. We gotta cut them loose. This liberates us to create anew. And for the record, we're designed for this. Women create whole new human beings, for crimini's sake. It's all about building your creative muscle. And as you do, you thrive, and the blueprints of your divine design are allowed to come forth. You're able to embody the truth of enough and the knowing of a plentifulness from inside of yourself. As far as I can tell, this is just about what every heart aches for, right? No more pushing the snooze button. The time really is now. And in the next couple of days, I'm going to be sending you via email a special invitation. It's only going to be available for 48 hours and for a limited number of women. So make sure you watch your inbox in order to accept my invitation. If it speaks to you, I hope it does. If you want a sneak peek, go ahead and pop over. The link is below. You can click on that and get a sneak peek before you get your email. I sincerely hope it does speak to you, because you will find a sacred and supportive community, creative inspiration, and the courage to celebrate your creations. All the secret sauce for deep transformation with lasting impact. And it is here that you will connect, create, and celebrate your increased abundance and enoughness. I'll see you soon.